Thank you, Troy. Thank you. Good morning. Well, I want to thank you all for being here at this third annual summit. It's growing every year, which is very exciting to me. And it's appropriate because what we're seeing in Wyoming regarding broadband is growing exponentially. I want to thank everybody who helped put this together. I want to thank all of you for many of you traveling great distances to be here. As you know, this is one of my top priorities, and as Troy mentioned, we know that our three top industries are minerals, tourism, and agriculture. And I think we can, and we are headed in the direction to say number 4 is technology. And of course, broadband is integral to that vision. So as I sit here and I think about where we were about 4 years ago, I want to share with you some of where we were and where we are today. But I guess the most important message is for those of you in the private sector, the partnerships we have with the University of Wyoming and the community colleges, you have come an incredible distance in a very short period of time. Your work has led this state in a remarkable direction that is going to serve all the citizens for generations to come. I also want to thank Clint Waters and his staff for their work and for Clint's vision and their staff's vision. They work extremely hard. Just for example, this last Saturday, his crew started at 2:30 in the morning on a power conversion, and they worked all morning, all day, and into the night. That is the dedicated professionals we have in Clint's shop, and I want to thank Clint and all those who work so hard to make the state a better place. So a couple of things that are exciting to me. Where we weren't 3 years ago and where we are now. We are now connected to the front range gigapop at 10 gigabit per second. That's a partnership, and a great partnership with the University of Wyoming. And because of that, we are now able to peer with many partners like Google and Microsoft. We were not there 3 years ago. We are now directly connected to Internet 2, giving our schools and our community colleges priority access to research facilities around the planet. And as you know, one of the big pieces of information and news from this year is the unified network. Last year, I asked the legislature to provide a little over $15 million for a unified network. We have members of the legislature that are here that grabbed onto that vision and have been very supportive of it. The idea was, even though we are the smallest state in terms of population, we can have a remarkable transformation in this state, and the unified network would get there. And when Flint and I first started talking about it, we talked about a 10 gigabit system, and we agreed let's set the bar very high, and we looked at 100 gigabit, and we are getting there. And it's absolutely incredible what we have seen. We have successfully turned up 7 of 8 100 gigabit per second legs on Wyoming's unified network backbone, and we're already carrying traffic around Wyoming. So kudos to CenturyLink, Advanced Communications Technology, for their amazing success in such a short period of time. Remember, the money only became available July 1st, so we're only 4 months into this, and we already have 7 of the 8 legs connected. To date, we have 29 of 48 school districts on the 100 gigabit per second backbone. It's an amazing accomplishment in just 4 months. CenturyLink, I want to thank you for providing 6 of the 8 100 gigabit circuits and bringing Ethernet capacity to 26 of the 48 school districts. Silver Star and All West and Afton for their quick build to connect those area schools. TCT West in the Basin region and their great efforts with moving schools to the 100 gigabit backbone. Mountain West and Visionary in their work to bring Ethernet capacity to some of the more remote schools in Wyoming. Last year, 7 locations were on satellite, now only 2 remain. ACT and the Range family for providing 2 of the 800 gigabit backbone circuits and for moving quickly to bring 19 of 48 school districts to that backbone. We have increased capacity at each of our community colleges from 45 megabit per second to 500 megabit per second. That's an amazing effort. And again, thank you to CenturyLink for getting 1 gigabit per second circuit into Torrington, Wyoming, where Flint jokes now they can see pictures with color. It's an amazing thing. In 2011, we had Ethernet speeds in 2 Wyoming counties. In 2011, we had Ethernet speeds to 2 Wyoming counties. We're now able to order Ethernet circuits to all 23 counties. It's a huge, huge gain in a short period of time. We now have Ethernet connections to 45 of 48 school districts in place. By the end of the year, we'll have all 48 school districts with Ethernet connections. Through our partnerships, we've been able to purchase 100 gigabit per second circuits in 8 Wyoming cities where none existed 2 years ago. We're also completing a separate 100 gigabit ring to connect our first virtual data center located at Greenhouse Data in Cheyenne. Thanks to Visionary Communications for your fine work in helping making that possible. These are truly incredible times in Wyoming, but we are not done. Through this effort, we'll be enhancing firewalls and filters for every school district in Wyoming, and we're removing choke points throughout the state. Remember, just a year ago, school districts and community college traffic was squeezed through 2 1 gigabit per second connections to Cheyenne. These connections at 8 in the morning became full, and they stayed full all day long. We have moved now over half the school districts to the Wyoming Unified Network, eliminating this bottleneck for them. We've also increased the on-ramp in Cheyenne from 2 gigabit to 7 gigabit for the remaining school districts until we can migrate their circuits to the full backbone. We anticipate moving the rest of the school districts over by the first of the year. By this coming spring, 2015, we should have every single school district connected to Wyoming Unified Network backbone and a fully redundant 100 gigabit ring throughout Wyoming. That's an amazing thing. We are the smallest state in terms of population, but we're going to have a 100 gigabit backbone, and it'll allow us to move from Internet Protocol version 4 to Internet Protocol version 6. We could be the first state to have the IPv6 standard. And all that goes with that, not just for our schools, not just for our government, but the opportunity for the private sector to join in on that. That's very exciting. So I also want to thank, importantly, our easement task force. There are currently 3 fiber optic construction projects along the interstate right-of-way. The timing of this couldn't have been better. Any of you that drove down I-25, Flint and I arranged to have those machines out there on the way here. And you just can't do that. It's a remarkable thing. But if you've driven down our highways, you see we're laying fiber all over the place. It's absolutely incredible. And it's through the work of that easement task force and the Department of Transportation. It's been fantastic. So that's a little snapshot of where we have been and where we are. Now, for all of you, those numbers are very meaningful. But for the public, for the general public, and for the citizens of the state, you know, the jargon isn't as important. Those numbers aren't as important. Here's what's important. Wyoming has a history of being first in many areas, and we want to continue to do that. For us to have the ability to move to IPv6 is a great message, not only to the private sector, not only to the companies that are here now, but to the companies we can recruit in the future. As you have probably noticed in trade magazines over the last year, last 18 months, Wyoming's getting recognized, not only for a unified network, but our move into the cloud. These are all things where Wyoming is starting to lead, and we should lead, because 4 years ago, we were not only not keeping pace, we were behind. We have accelerated, and now we are a leader. And what this means to our communities, to our state, is not the 100 number. They don't care about that. What they care about is, can their child have a first-class education? Can their child have access not only to information available in the state, not only to information available in the country, but by a push of a button, have information from around the globe. By a push of a button, they can have access to a world-class education. What it means for our businesses, if you're selling or buying or you're keeping track of your accounting or your banking, they will know that they will have the ability not only to have a high speed, but to have redundancy. It is a great, great thing for all our businesses in the state of Wyoming, and it's a great, great thing for us to be able to recruit new business to Wyoming to say nobody is doing it better than Wyoming. And what it means in terms of medicine and healthcare. The opportunities that we see now with telemedicine are tremendous compared to where they were a decade ago. But what we have built, what you all have built, is going to provide great opportunities for us to improve our healthcare system across the state of Wyoming. So in summary, what these numbers mean, what this advancement in 3.5, almost 4 years means, is that we have improved the quality of life of every citizen in Wyoming to date. But we are not building this for today. We are building it for tomorrow. We are meeting the challenges of today, but we're also going to meet the challenges of tomorrow with what we have built. Technology in a rural state is the great equalizer. For us to have this speed, this capacity, this redundancy, we can compete with any other state. And whether it is in energy, whether it's tourism, whether it is ag, whether it is the small business, the banking business, the accounting business, we have the ability now to say we can compete anywhere, not only in this country, but anywhere around the globe. That's where we are today. Think of where we can be in 2 years, in 5 years, in 10 years. It's a deep commitment from the state, from the legislature, from the people that work for the state. It's a deep commitment in the private sector to not only say we have our own business, but to grab onto this vision of what Wyoming can be, in terms of the technology sector. I want to say, and I am saying, we have minerals, we have tourism, we have ag, and we have technology. And we are going to continue to be a leader with your help. So I thank you all for being here. I thank you not only for embracing the vision, but doing the hard work necessary to get us to where we are today. I see great things for the future of Wyoming, and part of that is because I see great things in the technology sector. So thank you all for your work. Have a great, great summit, and thank you again for being here this morning.